Padaryaniyam sojasi maika padam.
Padaryaniyam sojasi maika padam.
Atmanam Shamanam
Atmanam Shamanam.
Aho Suradin Ritayagya Bhagan
Aho Suradin Ritayagya Bhagan
Rajatasmin Bhagavat Varsati
Prajatasmin Bhagavatya Varshati
Padaryanam Shokashim Haikapadam
Padaryanam Shojasi Maika Padam
Atmanam Shamanam
Atmanam Bhavishyate
Ritayagya Bhagan
Aho Suradin Ritayagya Bhagan Prajatasmin Bhagavatya Varshati
Anybody else?
Padaryanam Shojasi Maika Padam Padaryanam Shojasi Maika Padam Atmanam Bhavishyate Bhukshamanam Atmanam Bhavishyate Bhukshamanam Aho Suradin Ritayagya Bhagan Aho Suradin Ritayagya Bhagan Prajatasmin Bhagavatya Varshati Prajatasmin Bhagavatya Varshati
Padai by three legs.
By three legs.
Nila diminished. Shojasi. If you are lamenting for that. Ma. My. Ekapadam. Only one leg. Atmanam. Own body. Ba. Or. Rishalai. By the lawful meat eaters. Mokshamanam. To be exploited. Aho. In sacrifice. Suraadin. The authorized demigods. Pritayagya. Devoid of sacrificial. Bhagan. Share. Praja. The living beings. Uta. Increasing. Svit. Weather. Magavati. In famine and scarcity. Varsity. Because of rainlessness. Translation and purport. By His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya. I have lost my three legs and am now standing on only one. Are you lamenting for my state of existence, or are you in great anxiety because of henceforward the unlawful mediums will exploit you? Or are you in a sorry plight because the demigods are now bereft of their share of sacrificial offerings, because no sacrifices are being performed at present? Or are you grieving for living beings because of their sufferings due to famine and drought? Salam. With the progress of the age of Kali, four things particularly, namely the duration of light, mercy, the power of recollection, and moral or religious principles will gradually diminish. Since Dharma, or the principles of religion, will be lost in the proportion of 3 out of 4, the symbolic bull was standing on one leg only. Which leg? Truthfulness. When 3/4 of the population of the whole world become irreligious, the situation is converted to hell for the animals. Yeah, a lot of human beings do. In the age of Kali, godless civilizations will create so many so-called religious societies in which the personality of godly will be directly or indirectly defied. And thus, faithless societies of men will make the world uninhabitable for the same section of people. You know, in Judaism, you can't say the name God. It's like a great offense. Amazing. And there's no understanding of the form of God. Very limited. Like they have these Christian tracts, they send out little leaflets. They have God, but there's no face, just every circle. Very little observation of God. There are gradations of human beings in terms of proportionate faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first class faithful men are the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas, and the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, and the Sudras, and the Malachas, the Yavanas, and at last, the Chandalas. So the Chandalas, I wonder what's the difference. Malacha, Yavana, Chandala. I think Chandalas are the mediums.
Cow. No, sorry, dog eaters.
Dog eaters. And the Yavanas?
In general, meat eaters.
And Malachas?
Who have unclean habits in general. Malaysia
Unclean
is
habits.
unclean.
Yeah. Sudras can be pretty unclean.
Mm.
The degradation of the human instinct begins from the Malachas, so we're going to find out later. The degradation of the human instinct begins from the Malachas, and the Chandala state of life is the last word in human degradation. All the above terms mentioned in the Vedic literature are never meant for any particular community or birth. They are different qualifications of human beings in general. There is no question of birthright or community. One can acquire the respective qualifications of one's own efforts, and thus the son of a Vaishnava can become a Malacha, or the son of a Chandala can become more than a Brahmana, all in terms of their association and interrelation with the Supreme Lord. So one can be a Brahmana and just engage in all kinds of sinful activities, and he's respected as a Brahmana. But someone born to a Malacha family, he, by the process of sadhana, he becomes a Brahmana, a Paka Brahmana, but he is looked at, can't enter a temple. Although he's following everything so strictly, so nice. And the degraded Brahmana is the meat eaters are generally called malachas, but all meat eaters are not malachas. Those who accept meat in terms of the scriptural injunctions are not malachas, but those who accept meat without restriction are called malachas. Beef is forbidden, the scriptures, and the bulls and cows are offered special protection by the followers of the Vedas. But in this age of Kali, people will exploit the body of the bull and the cow as they like. Thus, they will invite suffering from various types. Like these sinful activities are so much endeavor for all these sinful activities. And like meeting, they got these huge slaughterhouses, and they got to get way out in the country because it smells so bad, and it just, yeah, this is horrible. Horrible. So to have meat, they have these huge slaughterhouses. To drink alcohol, they have these distilleries. You see these something, all this fumes coming up, and huge endeavor to have liquor, and very expensive. Meat also, it's probably. I mean, we never buy meat, but It's probably a pretty expensive thing. And people see that they see the nicely packaged meat there, and it's okay. But if you trace it back, take it back, it's hell. It's hell, slaughterhouse. Horrible. Huge endeavor for sinful activities. Gambling also. You got the slaughterhouse. I mean, they got these casinos, hotels, Las Vegas, huge hotels, huge casinos. Here in California also, there's gambling going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the San Diego temple, and we were having our Thursday evening program, and I was talking to one person. So I said, "So, what kind of work do you do?" He said, "I gamble. I'm a professional gambler." "Oh, so you spend a lot of time in Las Vegas?" He said, "Yeah." So here also, you can gamble here. Yeah. Place in San Diego, that's how he makes his living, gamble. But huge endeavor. Someone wants to gamble, you got to find a casino, and it's just like, yeah. And so, and also illicit sex. They have these brothels, prostitute houses. It's all. And man, he's trying to get a woman. You gotta have a lot of money. Gotta look good. You gotta have a good job. So it's a huge endeavor for sinful activity. But for spiritual life, just chant Hare Krishna. Read Prabhupada's books. Chant Hare Krishna. So much more simple. Huge endeavor for sinful activity to enjoy material, so-called material life. But hard to be a devotee, to advance spiritually, so easy. So we're definitely on the right journey. The people of this age will not perform any sacrifice. The millennial population will care very little for performances of sacrifice. They kill the animal, it's called Durga Prasad. Right? Durga Prasad. Although performance of sacrifice is essential for persons who are materially engaged in sense enjoyment, in the Bhagavad Gita, performance of sacrifice is strongly recommended. I was just reading, Prabhupada said, the root cause of ignorance is the root cause of ignorance is a material consciousness. The root cause of ignorance is material consciousness, which must be killed. Prabhupada is very strong. It must be killed with spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Interesting statement, they're powerful. Ignorance is the root cause of material consciousness, which must be killed by spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Material consciousness it's thick. You got to kill it. I was in class, and I was giving class in San Diego, and I mentioned this, and that this material consciousness, Maya, has to be killed. And the Vedic week, said, transform. Transform the mind. You gotta, but actually, Prabhupada saying you gotta kill it. Kill this material consciousness. Kill this materialistic mind. Spiritualize the mind, Krishna consciousness. Hear and chant and transform, and just kill the material consciousness. It's just Krishna. No more mind. The living beings are created by the creator Brahma. And just to maintain the created living being progressively toward the path back to Godhead, the system of performing sacrifice is also created by him. The system is that living beings live on the produce of grains and vegetables, and by eating such foodstuffs, they get vital power of the body in the shape of blood and semen. And from blood and semen, one living being is able to create other living beings. Mahatma Prabhu, sometimes he gives talks on vegetarian. He says that we don't eat anything that if we try to eat it, it runs away from us. And you think of the animals, the carnivores, they pounce on them, the lions, they got to chase them down. Like horrible. But we can't do that. You'll never see a human being that chase down a cow. Probably couldn't you invite him to it. Is it? It's just terrible. The animals do that. The production of grains, grass, etc., become possible by rain, and this rain is made to shower properly by performance of recommended sacrifices. Such sacrifices are directed by the rites of the Vedas, namely Shama, Yajur, Rik, and Dharma. In the Manusmriti, it is recommended that by offerings of sacrifice on the altar of the fire, the sun god is pleased. Like Krishna says, Yagya Dhanata Pakara, Natyajan Parama. Sacrifice, austerity, and charity, never to be given up. They purify even the great souls. Even the great souls, they don't stop. Like Prabhupada, he didn't have to chant japa. He's there. But he was a good example. He would chant his japa. He was the best example. He didn't have to. But he wanted to be a good example for others. So yagya, dana, charity, austerity, these activities they had to be. Keeps us healthy spiritually. When the sun god is pleased, he properly collects water from the sea, and thus sufficient clouds collect on the horizon and rains fall. After sufficient rains fall, there is sufficient production of grains for men and all animals, and thus there is energy in the living being for progressive activity. Now, Krishna is such a good manager. He sends us rain, nice rain, and if rain doesn't come, we got water from under the earth. It's amazing. Krishna's they're so intelligent. He knows that. He's a good manager.
Mm.
The Malachas, however, make plans to install slaughterhouses for killing bulls and cows, along with other animals, thinking that they will prosper by increasing the number of factories and live on animal food without caring for performance of sacrifices and production of grains. But they must know that even for the animals, they must produce grass and vegetables. Well, sometimes they feed the cows. It's horrible, horrible stuff. I don't even know what it is, but it's just horrible. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's not very expensive because it's all about. It's like in England, they're feeding this stuff and terrible stuff. And they got the mad cow disease. Remember that? The mad cow disease. Because they're just not even treating them. They're getting so much money from the cow, they can't even feed them. But they must know that even for the animals, they must produce grass and vegetables, otherwise the animals cannot live. And to produce grass for the animals, they require sufficient rains. Therefore, they have to depend ultimately on the mercy of the demigod, like the sun god, Indra, and Chandra. And such demigods must be satisfied by performance of sacrifice. This material world is a sort of prison house And we have several times, as we have several times mentioned, the demigods are the servants of the Lord who see to the proper upkeep of the prison house. These demigods want to see that the rebel living entities who want to survive faithlessly are gradually turned towards the supreme power of the Lord. Therefore, the system of offering sacrifice is recommended in the scriptures. The materialistic men want to work hard and enjoy fruit of results for sense enjoyment. Thus, they are committing many types of sins at every step of life. I'll repeat that. The materialistic men want to work hard and enjoy fruit of results for sense enjoyment. Thus, they are committing many types of sins at every step of life. Those, however, who are consciously engaged in devotional service of the Lord are transcendental to all varieties of sin and virtue. Their activities are free from the contamination of the three modes of material nature. For the devotees, there is no need for performance of prescribed sacrifices, because the very life of the devotee is a symbol of sacrifice. But persons who are engaged in fruitive activities for sense enjoyment must perform the prescribed sacrifices, because that is the only means to get free from reactions of sins committed by fruitive workers. Sacrifice is the means for counteracting such accumulated sins. What is it? You chant that every morning, and just by circumambulating Tulsi Devi, you become free of all sins, even that of killing a Brahman. That's heaven. It's amazing, right? Krishna is so merciful, Tulsi is so merciful. The demigods are pleased when such sacrifices are performed, just as prison officers are satisfied when the prisoners are turned into obedient subjects. Lord Chaitanya, however, has recommended only one yajna or sacrifice, called the Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, in which everyone can take part. Thus, both devotees and fruitive workers can derive equal benefit in the performance of Sankirtan Yajna. Om Yanatamandasya Ginanjana Salakaya Chakshur Manitangyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhukam Guru Dimachara Nikonanandake Yat Kripataraham Bande Shri Guru Nityananda Bhakshara Shri Krishna Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. I beg all the Vaishnavas to bless me that I could say something that's truthful, pleasing, and beneficial. So here, Prabhupada mentions that this material world is compared to a prison. And sometimes, believe it or not, even devotees, great devotees, are put in prison. Just like that. Sanatana Goswami, he was a minister, big personality, but he became disgusted with his service to the Nawab Hussain Shah. Actually, do you know how he got in that position? It's interesting how he and Rupa Goswami became ministers. What happened is that Nawab Hussain Shah, he heard of the qualities of these two personalities. So he told them that you either work for me or I'm going to harass the Brahmins not getting it. So it's blackmail. That's why they became ministers. One minister. How could such great devotees become ministers of such a demon? That's how it happened. But eventually he just became disgusted. So he was taking shelter of brahmanas and hearing from the scripture. And he didn't want to serve the Nawab anymore. So he claimed sick, that he was sick. So he had someone go check it out and say, he's not sick. He's just hearing from the Brahmanas. So he became, Nawab Hussain Shah became very upset, put him in jail. Not really to punish him, but just so that he wouldn't run away, because he was really attached. Because Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they're so qualified. So he just didn't want him to run away. Because he figured that's going to happen. They're hearing Brahmins, he's going to take off. He didn't want that. So Sanatana Goswami is very smart. So he told one of the jail keepers, "I'm going to go to Mecca," because he had been associated with the Muslims. He's a minister. So you do something pious. Let me go. And I'll be in trouble. No, I'll give you gold coins. How many? 10,000 gold coins would be a lot. A lot of gold coins. And that was given by Rupa Goswami, who had already escaped. So he said, do this pious activity. So he was able to escape. And then eventually he ended up in Vrindavan after Lord Chaitanya spoke to him for 2 months. Imagine that, mercy. Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of God, preaching for 2 months, every day. Such mercy. So then eventually he ended up in Vrindavan, and he was doing Madhukara. And he saw one house that the residents of this house, they were treating the deity like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And the deity was actually reciprocating very nicely and actually moving around, walking. It's really special. And Sanatana Goswami said, "This is not the proper way to worship the deity." Imagine it's like walking around with the kids, playing with the kids, the deity. So then so they didn't appreciate that instruction. Then that night he had a dream. The person in the house had a dream that he'd give me to Sanatana. So Sanatana Goswami, what was the name of the deity? Madanmohan, as we have here. So he was taking care of Madan Mohan, but he didn't have anything. They were in a tree. And eventually Madan Mohan said, "Can't you?" He was making these little, I guess, rotis or little balls of dough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have little, just dough balls. And he said,
Bati. Bati.
Huh?
Bati.
Bati? Bati. People still eat these?
Yeah.
Bati?
Yeah.
Okay. So Madan said, "Can't you just put some salt on it?" And he said, "Yeah, now you're going to ask for salt, then you're going to ask for this, you're going to ask for that. I don't have anything." Couldn't give salt. And so then this person came by with he was going on the Yamuna in a boat with salt. So he didn't know what to do. It was stuck. The boat was stuck. So he found Sanatana Goswami. And he said, "What do I do? My boat's stuck." Pray to Madan Mohan. Help you out. So he prayed to Madan Mohan. And the boat was able to go. And then he was so appreciative that he came back. He said, "Is there any service?" "Well, yeah, build the temple for Madan Mohan." And that's the temple that's there right now. It's amazing. Krishna wanted salt. Salt came. So this is a devotee. The devotee just wants to please Krishna. And Krishna just wants to please the devotee. So this is the goal of the human form of life, is to please Krishna. We should live to please Krishna. And the more we live to please Krishna, the more Krishna will reciprocate with us, and we'll be able to experience the natural position of the soul, which is eternality, knowledge, and bliss. Everybody wants to be eternal. Nobody wants to die. People are looking for knowledge right from the time we're just children. We're asking so many questions. What's this? What's that? We want knowledge. So the highest knowledge is the spiritual knowledge. Raja Vijaya. Raja Vijaya. It's the king of knowledge, by which one can understand. Soul can understand the Supreme Soul. Prahlad Maharaj, he says to his friends that an expert geologist, he knows where there's gold, and he knows how to extract the gold from the gold ore. Similarly, a devotee knows that he's the soul within the body, and that the soul is separate from the body. Prabhupada gives the example, just like if you take a lotus flower, you put it in the water, it doesn't touch the water. Interesting. Or you take a drop and you put it on the lotus, it just rolls off, doesn't touch. It's separate. So we're also separate from the body. It appears. Actually, it's covered by the 5 airs. It never actually comes in contact with the body. So we're trying to develop our Krishna consciousness so that we're aware 100% that we're the soul, that we're not the body. Wouldn't that be nice? To have 100% awareness that we're the soul, completely self-realized. And we're on that journey of self-realization, complete self-realization. And then how much nicer it'll be to preach to people, to have this realization. No ego, no misunderstandings. And there's so many misunderstandings about the soul and about Krishna. But as we practice, then everything becomes clear. And our understanding of Krishna, our understanding of the soul, is not sifted through our contaminated consciousness. Now it's sifted. So much misunderstanding about God and about the soul. Just like this, Prabhupada was preaching to this lady in Mexico about the soul. You're saying that you're the soul. You're not that body. You're not that body. She said, well, then whose body am I? Just can't understand. You're not the body. Because we're so conditioned right from the baby, coochie coochie coo. It's a beautiful little child. So to get out of this, but we're getting a lot of help from Krishna. We get a lot of help from Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta purports, and Krishna's teachings. I was just appreciating Krishna's teachings. This morning I was chanting japa, this verse, one is free of the dualities that arise from doubt. That's such a nice statement. This material world is just so much duality. And whatever happens, something happens that, oh, that's terrible. I'll tell you something that happened in Udupi. We don't have a temple there, but there was some devotee there that had an apartment. I found out. So I was staying in his apartment. There was another devotee staying there as well. His name was also Vijaya. So I went out and I had to do some things. I was there too. I had some health problems, and they have a lot of expert Ayurvedic doctors there. So I was seeing one doctor. Yeah, it wasn't that good actually. So I came back. We were both staying in the apartment, and I left the door open because I figured he's going to come back a little later. I left the door open a little bit. Just it wasn't closed all the way, but there was no crack, so you can. But it wasn't closed. He thought I had closed the door. I had locked the door. And what happened? If you won't believe it, it was on a two. It was a two-story, so there was a stairs. He locked me in. He locked me in. He was upset. He thought I had locked him out, so he locked me in. I couldn't get out. I finally figured out. I found a wire. I was able to climb down the wall. Yeah, that's how I got out. I had to climb down a wall with some wire. He was upset, misunderstanding. He thought that I had locked him out, and I just wanted to be by myself, room for myself. I didn't want anybody. That's what he was thinking. But I didn't. I left it open for him. So the next day, and then of course when I got out, I unlocked it, went up to my room. But then again, the next night, he came and he locked me in again. So, but I was thinking, no, this is good. This is good. It helps me develop a little humility. I can't even. Yeah, I gotta crawl down a wire, over the wall to get out. So now, in some circumstance, some people get a little upset. I don't know. This is good. Humility is good. This has helped me, to develop some humility, and this is such an important thing. But in the material world, we have such big false ego. Something, a little thing happens, but why you do that? Yeah. And then we get upset. So I even remember there was one instance in the L.A. temple. Something happened in the L.A. temple. There's one devotee that disturbed the temple president. He got real upset, and he was shouting. He shouted at this person. The temple president shouted at this person. He had left the temple. Got so upset. I don't know what he did, but it's not good. We have to be a little tolerant. It's actually one of the offenses is to get angry in front of the deities and to chastise someone in front of the deities. So if we're not tolerant, then we could commit offenses to other people. We could commit offenses to the deities. So therefore, this tolerance is so important. Because we've done so many sinful activities. So how much do we deserve? Krishna is very kind, so he minimizes what we deserve. But then anything that happens, we get upset. Tatena kampang susemik samano gunjana eva vikitam vipata. Vidbhava porvir vidatam namaste jivetim kitvestu. Krishna, the humbled Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is supreme being in this universe. So he thought he would test Krishna. That's a mistake. And he realized that. And he offered prayers. Beautiful. This prayer is one of the most important prayers. Always seeking your compassion, thus tolerant all difficulties as being due to his own past activities, and serving with his mind, body, and word, such a devotee is eligible to inherit the kingdom of God. So whatever happens to us, it's good. Kind of hard to see that, but yeah, it's good. Krishna, he wants to see us grow spiritually. So we have to see his hand in everything that happens. And one nice thing about book distribution is things happen out there, reversals. And we're in a situation where we could see Krishna's hand. Krishna's, he's chastising me, or he's helping me become humble. Maybe I offended somebody, and he's correcting me now. So book distribution, it's online, or it's, what is it? On the job service, on the job training, on how to be a devotee, how to be compassionate, how to be tolerant. So it's such a mercy service distribution, because we're giving out people this knowledge, we're getting purified, getting free of our contamination. Very pleasing to Krishna, because he says, Yai Dan Padamam Bhuya. No one more dear to me than that person who is giving this knowledge. So we can't even estimate how much mercy we're getting. So we should hold on to that mercy, just keep on distributing, and we'll get a lot of mercy. And the people whom we're giving will also get mercy. I had an interesting experience just a few days ago on California Avenue, Palo Alto. I was showing the book to somebody, explaining a few words about the pictures in the book. And a nice person took a few books. But someone there in California Avenue, just like here at Mountain View, they have that Castro Street. It's a no car, pedestrian street. So they had a restaurant, outside restaurant. So this person was hearing me. He heard my presentation. So afterwards, he came up and said, I like what you were saying about that. Show me what you got there. So I showed him the book, and he took a stab. And gave a nice donation, took some work. So I think that's the first time that ever happened, that I was presented to somebody else. Another person heard him, he came. He also got the mercy. So he sat there, at the restaurant thinking he's just going to have a meal and go on with his life. But Krishna had another plan. He was sitting there anyway. Now he's got the mercy. He started his spiritual life getting Prabhupada's books. So in book distribution, it's such an adventure, such a nice thing. So we have people with any comment or question.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So about the mind, I hear different things that mind is contaminated, it is to be purified. This is what we hear from Cheto Darpan Marjan,
Yeah.
that has to be purified to engage in Krishna's, it is transformed. But at the same time, in Hans Guhya prayers, not Hans Guhya prayers, but when Hans Avatar comes and he gives answers to the four Kumaras in 11th canto, he says we do not have to purify the mind. We do not have to separate the mind from the matter, but we have to separate ourselves from the mind itself.
Yeah, well, Krishna says that too. Evam Bhule Pulang Bhutla, Samshyam Bhatman Mahatma, Jahi Satra Mahavataru. Krishna says, knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses, mind, and intelligence, one should carefully engage in Krishna consciousness and slay this formidable enemy known as lust. So Krishna says it's all about separate. But because of the lust, we're thinking they're together. The mind and the body and the senses, this is all about knowledge. So this is the contamination, this illusion that we can enjoy separate from Krishna. Therefore, we think that we're the mind, we're the body, we're the senses, we're the intelligence, but not. We're transcendental to all these things.
So what does it mean when we are saying transformation of the mind by chanting? We are
Well,
transforming.
we could turn the mind. Now it's a non-devotee, but it can become a devotee. It's like Prabhupada. He has a mind. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and these pure devotees, Sakya, they have a mind too, but it's pure. Krishna has a mind too. It's pure mind. Spiritual world, they have a mind also. Yamuna, Yasoda, she's thinking, because she's boiling the milk and she's feeding Krishna. Oh, and she's got a mind. She's thinking, oh, I got to take care of the milk. So she's, they have a mind, but it's a pure mind. So we're trying to kill the materialistic mind or transform, either way, from the material mind to spiritual mind. Okay.